NVIDIA's RTX 20, 30, and 40 series graphics cards have two outstanding features: Ray Tracing and DLSS. The PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X have both done a good job of introducing most people to ray tracing, but DLSS is still a bit nebulous. It's a little complex, but it allows you to play a game at a virtualized higher resolution while maintaining more detail and higher frame rates without putting as much strain on your graphics card. It gives you the best of all worlds by using the power of machine learning. And with the introduction of DLSS 3, the technology just got more powerful. But there's more to tell. So in this video, we'll tell you all about this great technology. And for more videos like this, don't forget to subscribe to our channel, Bright Hustle. If you did, let's start with something simple. What's DLSS? DLSS stands for Deep Learning Super Sampling. Super sampling refers to an anti-aliasing method that smooths the jagged edges that appear in rendered graphics. Unlike other forms of edge smoothing, SSAA renders the image at a much higher resolution and uses this data to fill in the gaps in native resolution. The deep learning part is NVIDIA's secret sauce. Using the power of machine learning, NVIDIA can train AI models with high-resolution scans. Then anti-aliasing can use the AI model to fill in the missing information. This is important because SSAA usually requires you to render the higher resolution image locally. NVIDIA does this offline, outside the computer, providing the benefits of super sampling without the computational overhead. This is all possible thanks to NVIDIA's Tensor cores, which are only available in RTX GPUs. Although the RTX 20 series GPUs have Tensor cores, the RTX 3060, 3060 Ti, 3070, and 3080 and 3090 feature NVIDIA's second generation Tensor cores, which offer higher performance per core. NVIDIA's latest RTX 40 series graphics cards brings the Tensor cores up to the 4th generation. This makes the DLSS boost even more powerful. Thanks to the new 8-bit floating point tensor engine, the throughput of the cores could be increased by 5 times compared to the previous generation. NVIDIA is the leader in this area, although AMD's new Fidelity FX super resolution feature could be a strong competitor. Intel will soon unveil its own super sampling technology called Intel XeSS, Intel Xe Super Sampling. More on that later. So, what does DLSS actually do? DLSS is the result of an extensive process of teaching NVIDIA's AI algorithm to produce better looking games. After rendering the game at a lower resolution, DLSS pulls information from its super resolution image training knowledge database to generate an image that still looks like it was rendered at a higher resolution. The idea is to make games rendered at 1440p look like they're running at 4K, or games rendered at 1080p look like they're running at 1440p. DLSS 2.0 provides 4 times the resolution, so you can render games at 1080p and output them at 4K at the same time. More conventional super resolution techniques can introduce artifacts and errors into the final image, but DLSS is designed to work with these errors to create an even better looking image. Under the right circumstances, it can lead to significant performance improvements without affecting the look of a game. On the contrary, it can make the game look even better. While early DLSS games like Final Fantasy XV saw modest improvements in frame rate from just 5 frames per second to 15 frames per second, more recent releases have seen far greater improvements. For games like Deliver Us the Moon and Wolfenstein Youngblood, NVIDIA introduced a new AI engine for DLSS that reportedly improves image quality, especially at lower resolutions like 1080p, and can increase frame rates by over 50% in some cases. With the latest iteration of DLSS 3, the frame rate increase could be even more significant. NVIDIA showed a video from Microsoft Flight Simulator in which the frame rate increased from 64 frames per second without DLSS to 135 frames per second with DLSS 3. There are also new quality adjustment modes that DLSS users can make. They can choose between performance, balanced, and quality, with each mode focusing the tensor core power of RTX GPU on a different aspect of DLSS. How does DLSS work? DLSS forces a game to render at a lower resolution, typically 1440p, and then uses its trained AI algorithm to infer what it would look like if rendered at a higher resolution, typically 4K. It does this using some anti-aliasing effects, likely NVIDIA's own TAA, and automatic sharpening. Of course, visual artifacts that normally wouldn't exist at higher resolutions are also cleaned out and also used to make more of the details that should be present in an image. So, to simplify, DLSS is the momentary active version of NVIDIA's Ansel technology. It takes the image at a lower resolution to provide a performance boost, then puts on various effects to give a more comparable overall effect to raising the visual quality. The results can be mixed, but generally it gives a higher frame rate without a visual loss. NVIDIA claims frame rates can improve by as much as 75% in games like Control, when using both DLSS and ray tracing. It's usually less pronounced than that, and not everyone is a fan of the eventual look of a DLSS game, but the option is certainly there for those who want to beautify their games without the cost of running at a higher resolution. In Death Stranding, there are more significant improvements at 2K over native rendering. In performance mode, the game lost details on the back package, particularly in the tape, but the quality mode maintained most of the detail while smoothing out some of the rough edges of the native render, and it got even better over time. DLSS has the potential to allow gamers who cannot achieve comfortable frame rates at resolutions above 1080p to do so with inference. DLSS is certainly one of the most powerful features of the RTX GPUs. While they aren't as powerful as we'd hoped, and the ray tracing effects, while pretty, have a significant impact on performance, DLSS gives us the best of both worlds. Better looking games that also perform better. Originally, it seemed like DLSS would be a niche feature for low-end graphics cards, but that's not the case. Instead, DLSS has allowed games like Cyberpunk 2077 and Control to increase visual fidelity on high-end hardware without making the games unplayable. DLSS enhances low-end hardware while offering a glimpse into the future for high-end hardware. NVIDIA has the RTX 3090 rendering games like Wolfenstein Youngblood at 8K with ray tracing and DLSS enabled. Although widespread adoption of 8K is still a long way off, 4K displays are becoming more common. Instead of rendering at native 4K and hoping the frame rate stays at 50 to 60 frames per second, players can render at 1080p or 1440p and use DLSS to fill in the missing information. The result is higher frame rates without a noticeable drop in image quality. DLSS is also constantly being improved and receives regular updates to improve the AI algorithm. For example, motion vectors can now be used more intelligently, essentially helping to improve the appearance of objects as they move. The update also reduces ghosting, making particle effects look clearer, and improves temporal stability. DLSS 2 is now fairly widespread with 216 games supported as of September 2022. The improvements don't stop there, however. In fact, things will get a lot more interesting with the introduction of DLSS 3. DLSS 3 reinvents the technology by rendering frames instead of pixels. On September 20th, during its GTC 2022 keynote, NVIDIA announced DLSS 3, the latest iteration of the technology that will be available to RTX 40 series graphics cards owners. Unlike some of the earlier small updates, and changes to DLSS this time around are big and have the potential to offer huge performance boosts. And with that, you know everything that is needed to get into the great world of gaming while actually knowing what to buy. To great visual quality and performance, NVIDIA's RTX is the way to go, and it looks like it might not change for quite a while. Of course, if you know more, you can always tell us more about it down in the comment section. Also, for more videos like this, don't forget to subscribe to our channel, Bright Hustle. We'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.